Hello, guys, and welcome to Fee's Sports Ball with Sir Isaac the Guru. Sir Isaac is not present tonight, so Fee will be going solo right here on the Fee Smee Network. Don't be going anywhere because Night with Fee comes up at 9 p.m. tonight. We will be wrestling around with some questions from all over about some phenomenal topics. So, Sports Ball is here. We're halfway through the NFL season. You got NBA playing. You've got WNBA over. Hockey's playing. College basketballs, girls and boys are playing. Everybody is playing sports ball. You know, sports ball is a term that Manly Mark, that doesn't care anything about sports, gave me. So we're going to continue to call, no matter what it is, it's sports ball right here on the Phee Smee Network. So thank you guys for tuning in tonight. We will have a segment with Fee versus the females tonight, coming up right at 6:40. We will also have a special guest from Mr. President up in the Northeast tonight, a little after 7 p.m. Sir Isaac is traveling into the Texas state, and I hope he has safe travels, and he will be back next week. We sure miss him. He is the guru. He is the captain of the ship. He just continues to money every single week right here on the Phee Smee Network. If you want to share us, you want to love us, you want to like us, do whatever you can to help Fee out. I'm here to tell you the algorithms are rascaling me around, and I just don't know what I can do about it. But tonight we're going to talk about a lot of sports ball. We're going to start off with what you guys think about some of the best college football games this week as LSU travels to Alabama. You've got A&M going to Missouri. You have USC at home on a Friday night playing Northwestern as they're in the top 20 again. I'm telling you, there's football everywhere, but what's slipping up on them is basketball season. As a sports drills coach, I can tell you right now, all of those folks are excited. They are in that preseason mode. It's fixing to be game time. I don't know if you guys remembered or not, but when I was a little kid, I couldn't wait to play. And if it was Tuesday and my game wasn't a Thursday, it just seemed like forever. It couldn't get there quick enough. Now it looks like to Fee that the months are kind of like days and the years were kind of like months. They used to say when I was a young boy that the older you got, the faster time went. So now I'm an old man, weebling and wobbling, but not yet falling down. I can tell you that it does speed up and pass you by if you're not actively playing on the field. So thank you guys again for tuning in to Fee's Sports Ball. We're going to look at also the mid-season part of the NFL. The Kansas City Chiefs have come on to be back number one in the power rankings. You've got some surprises with the Rams and the Colts. And then you also have the usual suspects that are right around with the Super Bowl champ Eagles. And you've got a few surprises in there also that are just kind of just creeping and creeping and creeping. You know, when an unstoppable force meets an unmovable object, what you have is a Crittenden County, Garland County, Sebastian County, Franklin County type of square. And that's 4 counties in Arkansas that are completely different in all aspects. And that's what you've got here when you're looking at the strategies of these NFL football teams. Some of them are top heavy on offense, some of them top heavy on defense. You know, they say that defense wins championships. Well, who do you think is the best defense in the NFL? It's certainly not the Pittsburgh Steelers that everybody thought it would be. Who would you think is the best defense in the NFL right now? If you can, hit me up on the old chat box and let me know what you think as we'll be moving right along. Also, Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills are continuing just to be knocking on the door. You've got Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens in such bad shape that everybody just expects them now to win every game as they go to Minnesota this week and are a 4-point favorite. lots of things going on in both college and pro football. And so we look forward to talking to them with one of the greatest athletes that's ever come out of the state of Arkansas. And she'll be with us in a moment. I can only tell you that I used to play her up against boys 2 and 3 years older, and if it was football, she was the quarterback. Basketball, she'd play the point guard. She can play softball, a shortstop, or pitch, and she could just absolutely shoot it and pass it, distribute it like none other. She can jump, she can run, a phenomenal athlete. Now she has decided that she wants to graduate a year early from college while working a full-time job. That young folks is what we would call determined, dedicated, and has a tremendous amount of ability. So I can tell you this, so far this week we have had some surprises, and you've got some pretty good football game tonight that we'll get into also. I don't know how many folks are interested in watching it when they could be watching Phee, but again, if you want to tune in to both, I don't blame you. Just split screen us and move us right on. But I thank you guys for tuning in tonight. What do you think about the old coaching carousels in college football? You know, it's the best job in America to be a fired football coach. You know, you get $9 million or you get $12 million, all the way up to $53 million to be a complete and utter failure at your job. I tell you, Fee's just not very bright. He could have done that with his eyes closed. I believe I could have been a bad coach without even trying. So, the 5 keys to being a good coach. Number 1, you have to be a good teacher. You have to know the subject. Number 2, you have to be a good communicator. You communicate differently from boys and girls, from young to old. You certainly don't treat everybody the same, and you don't try to communicate with everybody the same because they come from all different environments. Number 3, you have to be a good motivator. Some people you have to motivate by kicking them in the butt. If you guys don't give me energy and effort, I'm going to put that ball down. We're going to run for the rest of the practice. You've heard it many times before. Get on the line. We're going to run line sprints and wind sprints and everything else. Back in the day, they wouldn't even give Phee any water. And Gatorade wasn't even invented yet until I was, in 1974. I was 10. And so it was it was a rough house world for Phee out there without giving you water. Every once in a while, they try to throw you in a salt pill, try to help you. At the University of Arkansas in the 1970s, early part, at halftime, they would serve the players orange slices and canned Coca-Colas. That's right. That was the pre-Gatorade halftime liquids and fruits was orange slices and canned Cokes. Well, when Gatorade came in 1974, it was made at the University of Florida. Therefore, the University of Florida Gators, it was called Gatorade. Again, I like Tang. Just think about that. Tang. You used to put it in a spoon out of a can, put it in there and drink it, stir it and drink it, because that's what astronauts drink. I tell you, this marketing, it worked on Phee a whole lot when he was a young guy, when he was just a little lad. This marketing tend to work. Now, not so much. When they say non-dairy creamer to me, he recognizes that right off the bat. Most folks don't. So I feel like that I've inched my way up to actually being, halfway decent when it comes to coaching. After being a good motivator, number 4, you have to instill confidence in your players. If they put in the time and the effort, you've got to be able to reward them. If they're out on the court or on the field and they make a mistake, that's the time that you instill the confidence in them. Not the time you berate them, not the time that you yell and scream and diminish their confidence, but to actually lift them up during their tough times. If a three-point shooter goes 0 for 3 and he starts hearing you kicking and screaming, they might not shoot again. But if you well know they're going to be 60% from the 3, you better tell them to shoot it. You've done it many times. You put in the work. Don't worry about it. Shoot it again. That's what instilling confidence is to your players. And number 5, most important thing is to practice at game speed. When I was a skills and drills coach, I trained an athlete, and he was a football player, but he played basketball also. And the coach that he had as a freshman, they did not have any type of fast-paced practice. But then he went to a second coach, and that second coach had a real quick practice pace. So you must practice at game speed. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we are now appreciative to have the Queen Bee, Miss Sierra Smee, on the line. Thank you for joining Phee Sports Ball with Sir Isaac the Guru. Queen Bee, how are we doing today from the Ozark Mountains?
Oh, we're doing pretty good. Happy to be here. Happy to finally be asked to be a guest, Sometimes it takes a while to weed out the bad ones and find the good ones, but I'm finally here, so.
Well, I certainly appreciate you tuning in tonight and being here with us. I can tell you that she is by far the best prognosticator we've had on the show, and probably the best athlete we would ever have on the show. But Miss Smee, let me ask you a question. That deep in the Ozark Mountains, what do you think about the Razorback basketball team before we get into football?
I think that we always are pretty good and then end up choking sometime in the season. Second half is always a bad look for us, but that's my thoughts.
Well, I appreciate your thoughts, and I can also tell you that you were not very high on the Arkansas football team this year. You thought the offensive line was much better, but the defensive line was a little light. What do you think about the Razorback football team as we speak now with only 2 wins for the season?
I think I'm disappointed like every other Razorback fan, but I think that we could really do a lot better next season if we fix our defense. I don't think our offense is the problem. I'm still thinking it's the defense. So.
Well, a lot of your Razorback fans certainly agree with you. Do you believe that Bobby Petrino will be the next coach at the University of Arkansas if he beats Texas?
If he beats Texas, I think that he will be.
You heard it right here, ladies and gentlemen, right here on the Phee Network. Sierra Smee, the Queen Bee, predicts that if Bobby Petrino beats the Longhorns of Texas, he will be named the head coach at the University of Arkansas. Thank you, Queen Bee, for being here tonight. We're going to get into this week's college football. We'd like to know your opinion of the Northwestern Wildcats traveling tomorrow night to Jordan's alma mater, USC, and USC is minus 14.5 in a Big Ten matchup. What do you have, Queen Bee?
I think I'm going to take the underdog, USC. I don't watch a lot of football outside of Arkansas, but I have watched Dancing with the Stars, and Riley Arnold is dating one of the football players from USC, so that's my reasoning there.
There you go. She wants USC minus the 14.5 because of somebody named Riley dating somebody from USC. That's the way we look at it right here on the Phee Network. She probably will go undefeated. That's how it looks. Surprising she doesn't go to the horse races and pick the horse she thinks is the prettiest, but no matter what she does, she tends to be in it to win it. Next on the list, we've got Indiana minus the 15 going to Penn State. The Nittany Lions having a rough year, have fired their coach, James Franklin. What do you think Indiana will do to Penn State? Minus the 15. Queen Bee, what are your thoughts?
I think I've got Penn State on this one. I've always, Penn State hasn't been bad to watch if it's just on a Saturday, so I don't have any ties to Indiana. I think I like my odds going with Penn State.
All right, folks. She wants the home dog plus the 15 against the number 2 ranked Hoosiers of Indiana. I tell you what, looks like a good play to Phee. Just the home dog in that environment. I tell you what, College Park is something else, and it's very special, especially when they have those whiteouts. Boy, here's another one right here, a SEC matchup with number 3 Texas A&M traveling to the Tigers of Missouri. Queen Bee, what do you think's going to happen in that SEC matchup?
I think Texas A&M's going to whoop them pretty bad, would be my best guess.
She's a super freak, she's super freaky. She likes the Aggies of A&M, which sooner or later, folks, he's been telling you, are going to choke. I just don't know when. This is probably not the week, but Missouri is capable at home. Queen Bee wants the number 3 Aggies minus the 6.5 against Missouri. All right, we're going to go to another SEC matchup as LSU is traveling to Alabama. The Crimson Tide is a 10-point favorite. What do you say, Queen Bee? Can the Bio Bengals rebound, or will the Crimson Tide just roll?
This is a tough one. You know, if I wasn't an Arkansas fan, I would be an LSU fan. So I'm going to stick to my gut and go with LSU. Probably not the most favorable pick, but, you know, I've always liked the Tigers, so.
She's a Tiger girl. She's got the tiger by the tail right now. I can guarantee you that. A phenomenal husband, works every week, 60 hours a week, and she's steady making breakfast for him at 3 a.m. What a marriage, what a life. She wants LSU, less Brian Kelly, going to Tuscaloosa and beating, or at least covering the 10 against the Crimson Tide. Well, moving right along, the last college play we'll have today is Florida State going to Clemson. Clemson is a 1.5-point favorite. Queen Bee, Sierra Smee, what do you have? Tell me what you want to be.
I think I've got Clemson on this one, you know? Phee, I don't know why, but I've always looked good in orange, so.
She's always looked good in orange, and she's staying with the Tigers everywhere you look, except when it was Missouri. But she didn't go with them. She likes Clemson at home minus the 1.5, saying that the Seminoles aren't quite back yet. Thank you, Queen Bee, for those picks in college. We will move right along to the NFL games. Queen Bee, would you like to tell the audience who is your favorite NFL team and why?
You know, it's hard living in Arkansas and being a fan of the NFL, because if you say you're a Cowboys fan, half the world hates you and half the world kind of tolerates you. So unfortunately, I'm not a big Cowgirls girl. I think I'm more of an Eagles girl because I really love my oldest brother, Drew. I think I heard he may be on the podcast later today. But, you know, I really love Drew, and he lives up there, so I'm an Eagles girl these days.
You heard it right here. She loves her older brother. They are the Super Bowl champs. They do have Saquon Barkley, and I'll face me was an Eagle himself. He was an eagle and a devil, folks. Can you imagine that gum bouncing act he had to go and do from being an eagle to a devil? She's an Eagle also because of her brother in Philadelphia. You think they'll win a Super Bowl this year, or do you think someone else will?
You know, I'm not too sure, but I'd like to say they will. So I'm going to say yes.
Back-to-back Super Bowl champs, the Philadelphia Eagles, right here. Queen Bee predicts at the halfway mark of the NFL season. All right, folks, we will go into the first games this week as the Pittsburgh Steelers travel to SoFi and play the LA Chargers. The Chargers are -3 with an over and under at 45. What do you have, Queen Bee? Pittsburgh or the Chargers? Chargers -3.
I've got the Chargers.
That's right. You heard it right there. That's pretty dadgum quick. No absolute speculation, no discussion about it. Doesn't care about her younger brother's love for the Steelers. Just jumps right on the batteries themselves, the lightning bolts, the Chargers of SoFi. And by the way, she's been right there, folks. I've got the pictures to prove it. She wants the Chargers minus the 3 against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Next, we have Detroit minus the 8. The Lions go on the road to play the Commanders of Washington without Jaden Daniels. What do you have, Miss Queen Bee? Detroit minus 8 traveling to Washington.
I think I've got Washington on this one, It just came to me out of nowhere, so I'm going Washington.
She is a home dog girl. That's very good against the spread normally. She will take Washington, the Commanders, without their starting quarterback, plus the 8 against one of the high-flying offenses in the NFL. She's dangerous, that's all I can say. Next, we've got a Drake May-led New England Patriots traveling to Baker's Dozen, Mr. Mayfield's Buccaneers at home. The Buccaneers are minus 2.5. What you got, Queen Bee?
I've got the Buccaneers.
She's got the Buccaneers and Baker doing his specialty right there against the New England Patriots without Bill Belichick. What do you think about Bill Belichick and his young girl at North Carolina, Miss Queen Bee?
I don't even know what you're talking about.
Well, Bill Belichick's dating a 24-year-old, and he's about 75.
Okay, I knew Bill Belichick was older. I haven't heard about this little scandal, it seems. I say if they're both happy, then let them live.
Look at there, folks. No judgment there whatsoever. The younger woman after the older man, Sir Isaac thought she was an alleged witch that was started 14 businesses and was taking him for his money. There's the girl's perspective. The females, hey, if they're happy, let them live. What do we care? Isn't that right?
That's right.
All right. Well, she took Tampa Bay minus the 2.5 at home, and we will move right on to Baltimore minus the 4 on the road against the Minnesota Vikings. You got Lamar Jackson, played last week, had 4 touchdown passes. They've got to win almost every week to get into the playoffs. What do you have, Queen Bee, on Baltimore minus the 4 versus the Vikings of Minnesota?
I've got the Vikings. I got a good friend playing college basketball for Minnesota, so got to root for the Minnesota where I can.
Shout out to the University of Minnesota Golden Gophers and also the Vikings of Minnesota as she sticks with her home dog picks. She takes Minnesota plus the 4 at home against Baltimore. Last but not least, we have a Monday night game that's everybody will be talking about all weekend long as the Super Bowl champs Philadelphia Eagles go to Lambeau Field in Green Bay, Wisconsin to face the Packers. The Packers are minus 2 at home. What do you have, Queen Bee?
You already know I got the Eagles.
She wants the Eagles plus the 2 at Lambeau. Folks, there you heard her first appearance on Fee's Sports Ball Show. Any last comments, Miss Queen Bee, Sierra Smee?
I'm not sure if anybody's going to, pick based off of what I'm saying, but if they do and they win, I do expect a cut of it. That's all I got to say.
All right, folks, send that to the Queen Bee at the Fee Smee Network. 10% of the winnings from the Queen Bee we will expect in receipts, and we will get you that money order as soon and that routing number as soon as we possibly can. Thank you for being here tonight. We hope to have you on weekly as part of our panel. And we will go now with Fee versus the females as Fee will give his picks versus the Queen Bees right after these messages. Thank you, and I love you, girl.
Love you.
There you go, folks, right there, back in the Ozarks. I'm telling you what, they make some good Ozark mountain bread in there. They do a whole lot of things. Fee's going to tell you what he's going to take. Queen Bee took USC minus the 14.5. Fee will take USC minus the 14.5 also. Indiana minus the 15 at Penn State. The Queen Bee took the underdog Nittany Lions at home plus the 15. That's more than 2 touchdowns. I will go with the Lions and the plus 15 as well. Number 3, Texas A&M minus the 6.5 at Missouri. Miss Queen Bee went with the Aggies minus the 6.5. Phee will go with Missouri. You know, a show me state. Plus the 6.5 as Phee versus the females now takes a turn as we have opposite sides. Another game, LSU plus the 10 minus Alabama at Alabama. The Queen Bee loves LSU's uniforms. She knows her daddy too. I can tell you I'm a big fan of LSU. But folks, you know I got to play. If it's money on the line, I'm in it to win it. It's in God we trust, speaks all languages, whispers in none. Alabama minus the 10, roll tide roll, as that is our second different pick. And last in college, we've got Florida State minus the Clemson minus the 1.5 at home against Florida State. Queen Bee takes the Tigers at home minus the 1.5. Phee will take the Seminoles on the road plus the 1.5. As we have 3 picks that are different from one another, we shall see whether it's Phee or the females that know what they're talking about. Now we will go to the pro games. The pro games, folks, I can say to you, the first one is Pittsburgh at SoFi and the LA Chargers. The Chargers are minus 3. The Queen Bee took the Chargers minus the 3, and so will Phee. Next game on the list is a Detroit minus 8 on the road against Washington. Queen Bee takes the Washington Commanders at home plus the 8. Phee will take Detroit every week minus the 8. Third pick, Drake May's New England Patriots go to Tampa Bay. Queen Bee has the Buccaneers minus 2.5, and so does Phee, as Baker will score plenty. Next on the list is Baltimore minus the 4 on the road at Minnesota. Queen Bee takes the Vikings of Minnesota plus the 4. Phee will take Baltimore minus the 4 on the road. Go Lamar, go. And last but not least, a Monday night showdown with the Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles plus the 2 traveling to the Cheesehead States, the Green Bay Packers. Minus the 2, you heard it right here, where Queen Bee took her brother's favorite team, the Eagles, plus the 2, and Phee will go against them and choose the Packers of Green Bay minus the 2. Again, we have 1, 2 picks that are the same in college and the same in pros. We have 3 that are different. We shall see whether it's the Queen Bee or Phee next week. Tune in, guys, as we'll be shortly being, we will have Mr. President, and he will join us from the Northeast as we will move through Phee's Sports Ball. Again, we were talking about the NFL's best teams at the break or the halfway park. A lot of people think that it's the Colts. A lot of people think it's the Chiefs. A lot of people think it's the Bills. A lot of people are even talking about the Rams being in there. So remember, there's a lot of good teams in the NFL this year. There's not a lot of dominant teams. You're going to find that it's really, really open, wide open. A lot of people think in college that Ohio State is the best football team in the country. But the schedule that you play in the SEC, you heard it a couple of weeks ago here on the Feast Me Network, as Fee's Sports Ball, Phee told Sir Isaac that a SEC team would win the national championship this year, and that's with Ohio State being 1 and Indiana being 2 right now at where we are in the season. So I do appreciate you guys tuning in. We will be joined shortly by Mr. President. Until then, you've got some other football games that people aren't talking about as much this week, but let's go through some and see what you think when it comes to college football, best games of the week throughout the country. I pretty much went with the best and the hardest to pick. But I'm telling you right now, you have got some really good college football teams games this week. Starting tonight, Houston is -1 at the University of Central Florida. And tomorrow night, you have a number 22 Memphis Tigers, a team that I like, -3.5 against the Tulane Green Wave. And it is Fee's hope that the University of Arkansas hires the Tulane head football coach, Coach Summerall. So that is my hope for the University of Arkansas. I do hope that Memphis plays well. They only have one loss this year, and I would like to see them in the 12-team playoff. Although if they lose again, there's no way that they'll get there, and they might not get there even if they don't lose again, because they're not in a Power 4 conference. You guys have heard that Texas Tech has one of the best football teams that money can buy this year. With this NIL, they do not hide that. You've got 2 football programs that I believe are not as good as their rankings suggest. That's the Brigham Young University Cougars. They will travel to Texas Tech this weekend in Lubbock. If you haven't been to Lubbock, there's nothing to see there. But I'm here to tell you, I like the uniforms, the red and the black. The Red Raiders are -10 against the BYU Cougars. I'll guarantee you, Sir Isaac would love that play when it comes to anybody that plays BYU. So he would like the Texas Tech Red Raiders in that play for sure. Also, SMU with Rhett Lashley's new contract extension will be traveling to Boston College. You have the Bulldogs showdown. That's the Georgia Bulldogs going to Stark, Vegas, Mississippi to play the Mississippi State Bulldogs. So UGA will invade Starkville, and the Bulldogs, for some reason, they rattle cowbells. Wonder why they aren't the Mississippi State Cows. I never have understood that. And why is the Stanford Cardinals got a mascot that's a tree? And why does the Alabama Crimson Tide have a mascot that's an elephant? You folks are trying to confuse me. It's a hard concept for me to try to get the rambling wreck of Georgia Tech when you've got an old Studebaker and you got a bumblebee. It's you got the Auburn Tigers, and before the dadgum football game, one of the greatest traditions in sports is to let the eagle out and cry "War Eagle." So over in Wake Forest, we've got a bunch of Baptist deacons that are demons, the demon deacons. How do you take a Baptist college and a university and name the mascot the demon deacons? I graduated from the Blue Devils. So again, I was a blue imp and a problem. I just think you have to look at things like that. So anyway, as we just continue to go through some other great football games this week, Sir Isaac should be here because he was complaining about the slates. And Ohio State, number 1, goes to Purdue. That's not going to be a ball game. So Ohio State's going to continue to win. And when they do, until they play somebody. And they don't play Indiana this year, I don't believe. I'm mistaken if they do. Syracuse goes to the Miami Hurricanes. That will be a blowout again. Also, Oregon Ducks -6 at Iowa. Always a tough place to play for Iowa, but I believe Oregon will cover that 6. the Blue Devils of Duke, it's a -9.5 against Connecticut and the Huskies. A great basketball game would be the Kansas Jayhawks and the Arizona Wildcats, but this year they're playing in football. In football, Arizona is a 5-point favorite. Iowa State plus a 7 against the TCU, and I think that would pretty much tell you those are some pretty good football games right there. As far as the pros are concerned, you've got the Broncos minus the 8.5 against the Las Vegas Raiders. You have the Colts that are on a roll minus 6.5 against Michael Penix and his Atlanta Falcons with Kyle Pitts Jr., a great running back, a tremendous trio of receivers. Atlanta is a better football team than they're playing like. They're a better football team than their record suggests, but they don't seem to win. The Cleveland Browns are getting some love and respect, as you'll find that when Joe Flacco was traded from one to the other, nobody thought the Browns did right, and Joe Flacco's played great. But since then, they've got a running back named Judkins, and he's doing a very good job. And they're playing to where they're favored against the Jets in New York, the Meadowlands, and that's surprising that the Browns are favored against anybody, much less on the road against the Jets. The Jacksonville Jaguars are -1 at the Houston Texans. Another disappointment for Phee, as Phee chose the Houston Texans to win the AFC South, and it doesn't even look like it's close. The Indianapolis Colts are just running away with it. What a surprise. Although Phee told you Daniel Jones was capable, he did not think he was a top 5 quarterback in the NFL, and he's proven to be so, at least this year. The Buffalo Bills -9.5 in Miami, as Miami continues to struggle. I think that's a head coaching issue, and he's lost the locker room. I don't think he's going to be there much longer. If I was him, I would take a college job and get out in front of the posse. But a lot of folks like the way Josh Allen looks as a quarterback. A lot of folks enjoy his arm. He moves well from his hips down. He's got a powerful arm. He's a very imposing figure, and he just normally wins in the regular season. He cannot beat Patrick Mahomes in the postseason, but he tends to always beat him. As Phil told you last week, Buffalo would beat the Kansas City Chiefs because Josh Allen can win in the regular season against the Chiefs. And I'll tell you, Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen are two quarterbacks that if they weren't playing in this Patrick Mahomes era, they would be thought of as some of the best quarterbacks that have played the game of football in quite some time. So I do appreciate you guys tuning in to the Phee Smee Show, and the Phee Smee Network and Phee Sports Ball. Sir Isaac is in Dallas tonight. We're waiting on our next guest to join us as we move forward through the show. We had the Queen Bee, Sierra Smee, join up and get all of the dadgum picks that she gave. And we did have 3 differences in the Phee versus the females picks in college and 3 in the pros. What else is going on in college sports besides the crazy coaching vacancies? When are the dominoes going to start to fall? Is it advantageous for people to go out and try to make deals right now? Would it benefit Lane Kiffin to wait till the end of the season, whether Ole Miss played well or whether they played bad? If they finished up as a strong conference college football playoff team, or if they didn't make it and are lost early, which would be beneficial to him? A bird in the hand is better than 2 in the bush. Also, when you're negotiating, leverage is the key. And if people have choices, their value goes up. Will Nick Saban come out of retirement? Again, they're waiting on Miss Sue. I would guarantee that he wants to, but his wife is probably the most important thing in his life, and she's put up with that a long time. He's known as the greatest football coach to ever coach. I don't know why he would want to tarnish that legend or that legacy by coming back. But there's something about that locker room. There's something about that leadership, that alpha male. When you are leading young men or women for a certain goal and you achieve that goal, it is a great, great winning culture and a great feeling. So you don't beat that type of feeling of feeling like that you're a winner. Everybody wants to be connected. Remember that a lot of people, they want to perform. When most people, they shouldn't want to perform. What they should do is they want to be connected. You'll find that with the relationships a lot, just like in sports. A lot of people want to perform, but then that's not really them off stage. And you have certainly different personalities in private than you would in public. But you want to make sure that you're getting what you bought. You know, if you go get a Big Mac, you want to make sure that it's a Big Mac. And if you want to go to Kentucky Fried Chicken, you don't want any dadgum, chicken boneless wings, because they don't make boneless wings there. They make nuggets. So those are the type of things that you really want to get what you want. And what you want needs to be a winning culture when you're hiring coaches. Not the hottest, not the greatest, not, well, he's won when he, real quick. Take a look at some coaches that win where other coaches have failed for a long period of time. I mean, Indiana football is number 2 in the country now. I'm 61 years old. I can tell you Indiana was known as a basketball school that didn't have any kind of football possibilities. No chance of winning in football. They were at the bottom of the Big Ten. They were just like your Northwesterns. And so if you can win at Indiana, if you can win at Minnesota, if you can win at Tulane, if you can win at Iowa State or Kansas, if you can win at Vanderbilt or Duke in football or Rutgers or Syracuse, those are all places that normally folks don't win at. If you can win there, you're doing something right because you're playing every single week against better opponents. They have more talent. They're faster, they're bigger, they're stronger in most positions. So if you can win there, just like if an Oakland A's general manager in baseball can win when his salary pool is 20 times less than the Yankees and the Red Sox. They spend $250 million a year on their payroll, and the Oakland A's spend $18 million and beat them. That's impressive to me. These NIL deals, you've got college football teams now that are paying over $50 million for their teams. So when somebody that's spending $15 million or $20 million can beat them, they are much more efficient. They're better at what they're doing. And just because the win-losses don't show it or the results don't show it doesn't mean that that's the case. And when you're going to try to handicap or you're going to try to evaluate talent, you need to evaluate it based on not who has the best talent or who has the best team. That's pretty easy to see in most cases. But how is the coach handling the players that he has? Is he getting the most out of the players that he has on his roster? Do they bring energy and effort? Have they not let loose of the rope? Can you keep them connected to where they're not have given up? You know what Vince Lombardi said, fatigue will make cowards of all of us. When you get to the point where you just want it to be over and you don't care whether you're winning or losing, that's when you know you've given up. And I can tell you in health, and if you're feeling bad day after day, week after week, month after month, and in some cases year after year, you start catching that mindset of, I just want it to be over. It's not going to get any better. When you're trying to rehab and you blow out a knee and it takes you 12 months to get back, and then you really work hard for those 12 months, and 2 months later you have it over again. You have to do it again. And then 12 months later you have to do it again. It's so frustrating. It changes your attitude. Pain changes your attitude. Losses change your attitude. Negativity changes your attitude. I'm telling you right now, you want to have a winning culture, a winning attitude. You want to have a love relationship, not by performing, but by connecting with your teammates and in your locker room and in your coaches. That is the environment that if Nick Saban comes back, he'll be coming back for that, not the money. Everybody wants to talk about how much money people are making. Well, there's two different ways to look at why you have a job. Number one, you work for money. Number two, you work for the love of what you're doing. And guess what? The best thing about all of that is if you can find where you can do both at the same time, it doesn't get any better. There's some things better than retirement, folks. And doing something that you love, making plenty of money at it, is it. Especially if you're winning or losing. You know, Manly Mark talks about how he doesn't understand why people would like to watch adults play children's games. Isn't that something? What an analogy when we think about how we spend our time. How much time do we spend a week on fantasy football? How much time do we spend on handicapping sports? How much time do we think about going to deer camp or taking out feed or going camping or fishing? How much planning does go in? Because when you go on vacation, they say most of the fun is the anticipation and the planning of the vacation. And then almost 80% of the people, when they leave the vacation and are on their way home, they're excited to be home. They're excited to come home. Wonder why that is. So excitement, so much anticipating to go, spend a week, 10 days, 2 weeks, and excited to come back. That's what you want to do. You know, some people, they actually plan every 3 months. They plan a little weekend trip for that exact reason. They reset on a quarterly basis. We're going to do one trip on the weekend. We're going to have these hobbies for this quarter, for this winter, or for this spring, or for this summer, or for this fall. They have to work at it. Just like you work and prepare for your job, or you work and prepare for sports, or you work and prepare for marriage. Everything you have to do is all about what you choose your priorities and how you spend your time. Because how you spend your time is what you become over a period of time. That's why I tell all of my students, you do realize that your game film is your resume. What you're doing on that film, what people are watching, while they can go back and watch over and over again. They're evaluating your talent. It's not when nobody's watching. It's when you put it on film. You can practice, 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 and mess up as much as you want to. I tell my students, I don't care if you mess up, you can mess up all day long. The key is for you to do it long enough to where you can do it without messing up by the time it comes game time. And that's what you do as a coach. You want to practice, 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 because repetition is the mother of all skills. And the more you do something, the better you get at it. So that's why you want to practice, and that's why you want to have the reps before the lights come on, before people buy the tickets, before you are on your performances on your game film. Because that's what we have when it's all said and done and you're laying in that casket. Your life is in the past then. Your future is either eternity or damnation. But your life is already over on earth. How would you want these people that you interacted with from birth to death think about you? That is sports. From a psychological standpoint, do you want to feel like a winner or a loser? Do you want to make the big shot or do you want to shoot the air ball? Are you scared to come up with the bases loaded with 2 outs? Or are you looking over there on that on-deck circle and saying, please give me the opportunity. Please give me the opportunity. Put me in, coach. I want to play. That's what sports ball's all about. Whether it's tennis or pickleball, whether it's dadgum racquetball or badminton, volleyball, it doesn't matter the sport. You're competing against someone else to win or to lose. And there's nothing wrong with losing. That's how you get better sometimes. But you don't want to make it a culture. You don't want to be the school or the guy he's a loser or that's a losing culture. You know, that's an automatic W when you see them on the football schedule. You see Vanderbilt, Mississippi State. If you're Arkansas, you go W, move on. Automatic, see. It's kind of like getting 20s in blackjack. It's not one card can beat you. But when you're not on the roll, those 21s hit 4 and 5 times in a row. And sometimes you can win with 17 because the dealer's he just, every single shoe, every single dadgum deal, you know what he's doing? He's busting. He gets more than 21. So it's all about momentum. And no matter what it is, it's about culture. And to have a winning culture is about love. And it's about connection. And if those players don't want to leave you and they love you and they know you love them, they'll do almost anything in the world for you. And that's why relationships and sports go hand in hand. And so I do appreciate you guys tuning in tonight as I am still waiting for Mr. President at 7:20. Mr. President told me that he was very, very busy tonight. And he would try to get away a little after 7. But if he doesn't get here in the next 10 minutes, we're going to close up at 7:30 tonight because Phee has his night show with Phee at 9 p.m. Tune into all of those platforms, X, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and we're doing well on 2 of them, really not well on the other 3. So if we can, get the message out and see what we can do. I do appreciate you guys tuning in to the Feast Me Network's Phee Sports Ball with Sir Isaac the Guru. Sir Isaac is not here. Phee is flying solo today, and he does not know what else to talk about while he is waiting for Mr. President. So I will continue and say to you this. Thank you guys for tuning in. We will get off of here, prepare for night with Phee. We'll rock and roll and nickel and dime. Thank you guys. Remember this, no matter what you're doing, you're missing something. So let's make what we're doing worth what we're missing.